Well, good morning, folks. This is going to be a fantastic Leading Your Best Life because I'm talking to a guy who's in the area of relationship counseling, Mauro Davidi. Met him at the Superior Business Network. He ran a session for us and we were blown away. And I said, I've got to do a podcast with this guy because we're all in relationships, both with ourselves and other people. So, Mauro Davidi, welcome to Leading Your Best Life.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Lake, to having me. It's an honor. Thank you.
No, fantastic. I'm looking forward to this conversation, Mauro. But before we get right into the depths of it, let's talk a bit about your background. There's an accent there. So give us the Mauro Davidi story in just 2 or 3 minutes. Where have you come from? What's gone on in your life so far?
Well, I come from Italy. I'm Italian. I think my accent will remain this forever. I
Yes, yes.
try to be a little more Aussie, but I cannot do that. I came here 11 years ago, and without knowing any kind of English, I walked through to become today the counselor. I studied counseling, and I start my business 4 years ago. And yeah, I love helping people. I love the 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 fact that people can actually work out on the problem if they want to. What is interesting to me, because it was very good for my relationship to understand how relationship works, because you- I really believe that we learn from our parents, and
Yes.
my parents were divorced. Um,
Hmm.
Very good people, very two good individuals. My other couple were terrible, absolutely terrible. And I learned from them. So I asked myself, what can I do to make sure that my marriage will work? And this is how I start to become interested about relationship and counseling and learn. And I learned, I'm learning and I'm practicing what I teach to my clients, and it's working.
Fantastic. So you say your parents were divorced. Clearly, that's sort of a trigger of what to do or not to do. And now you're saying you only got into counseling once you got married, and you decided, well, I want to make sure my marriage works. Is that what happened?
Well, counseling, yes. It happened. I met my wife. I want to make sure that was working between us. I got this book from John Gottman. Was talking about the 7 principles of how to make a marriage work. I thought this title is brilliant. Is for me, and I start to read the book, and I say, wow, this is fantastic. And then I did another couple of books, and then I say, well, maybe I want to learn more. I did the Gottman training. That was my first training I did. And then from there, I start the counseling study. And then I opened my practice because I understood that there is not enough coaching in a relationship life. Everybody go for a coach for training or for food or for, I don't know, for learning how to drive or to build a house or to make something. But relationship, zero, zero. I suppose that we learn from who knows what, and then we make mistakes. Yeah.
Of course, of course. So, as you say, people will go for golf lessons,
Mm.
golf coach, tennis coach, a business coach, but relationship coach, like, whoa, yet we're all in relationships. As you say, I'm in a marriage, you're in a marriage, let alone all the other relationships in the workplace. So, if I was to say to you, Maro, what is your mission in life? What is the difference you want to make in life?
My mission today is be able to teach what I learned about relationship.
Mm.
Because if a guy like me that was absolutely scared to get married, got married, and actually have a successful marriage, I can make sure um, that if you work for me, can work for everyone. And it's everything about understand why we do what we do, why there is this discrepancy between partners about intimacy, why we act in the way that we act, because it's possible to understand that, and everything comes from what we learn when we were kids. That's it.
Yes, what we learned when we were kids. So that in your case, as you say, with your parents divorcing, what did you learn either what to do or what not to do from your parents.
Well, at the beginning, I thought the marriage was something absolutely wrong, a mistake, was something imposed by some governative governative things. Okay, I thought actually we couldn't stay marriage for with one person for that long, because around me, not my parents, but around me, I remember had four friends. They got married, all of them. I was the only one single, so in five, two of those got divorced in 1 year's time.
Wow. Only after 1 year of marriage.
Yes. So my mind was saying, this really works. And now I understand w- their behavior. If I think about my friends, I understand their behavior. I understand what was right, what was wrong. And I believe that was chaotic. Relationship were chaotic because my family was chaotic. We were four siblings. My parents were arguing all the time. I remember one night, I was sleeping with my sister when we were around 7, 8 years old. I remember my parents were shouting to each other things that I cannot repeat.
Mm,
And I remember I looked my sister say, "This is horrible." And she looked at me. She was 1 year younger, and she started crying. So
mm.
the effect of this kind of relationship can have on kids is enormous. So if I can change 101 the couples, the way they behave, and teach their kids how to behave, maybe we can have a better society.
Absolutely. Not the least of which, I mean, what are we? Are we at 50% of marriages divorcing, and in fly in, fly out work, it's as high as 70 and 80%. So if you were to say, like as you say, how to make marriages work, and your John Gottman obviously influenced you a lot. If you were going to say, what are 3 or 4 or 5 things that you see that stops marriages working? And then let's talk about what to do to help make those marriages work. But what are some of the pitfalls and problems you see that stop marriages working?
Communication, number one. Communication is a big issue. Communication is everything we do. No, all life, all world, all society function with good communication. So if we don't have good communication with our partners, well, everything go in failure. Communication number one. Disinterest. Disinterest about your partner life. I was talking today with client, and I asked him because he wasn't sure about the new relationship. And we were talking about the childhood trauma and why he's always running away from relationship. And I asked him, are you friend with your partner right now?
Mm,
He say, yes, I am. Okay, can you tell me what is her favorite trees?
mm,
He's saying, I don't know. Okay, what's her favorite color? I don't know. So, how do you think your relationship can work? You can actually have conversation about more important topic if you're not able to talk about what is your favorite color. Yeah. So in relationship feeds with curiosity. You must stay curious with your partner. Be curious of what is changing their body, what is changing their mind, what they believe, what they see, what they think. Because we are not anymore the person that we were 10 years ago, but we are not anymore the person that we were 1 minute ago. We read something that make us think different about the same topic that we were so secure until 1 minute ago. So people change all the time is the only consistent things that we have. And we must remain curious with our partner and
yeah.
talk about and communicate that. Intimacy, another one, a big one. Intimacy is something that is a big struggle, but we need to understand that intimacy is not only about sex, it's about everything around the relationship. Again, I really believe friendship is the core of the relationship. And I like describe a relationship like a house, no? You have the floors, that is the friendship, okay, where you put the stability of a relationship, and then you have commitment and trust. These are the two walls that keep up the house.
So you say, so the floor is what? Say that again. The roof, the floor
It's friendship,
is friendship. So it's based friendship, and then trust and
commitment.
commitment, being committed to the relationship. Yeah.
Friendship is what make you be interested about your partner, be curious about your partner. Have you ever noticed that your best friend most of the time is someone that does anything else than what you do? Very different. Why we accept that? Why we accept that? Why we don't accept the difference from our partner? Many times people come in and say, we don't have anything anymore in common. Well, what to make you decide to get married? People just forget why get together. My job is helping them to rebuild the friendship, to court again, to have fun, to start to talk about the small things before to get and talk about the big thing. That is very important. So communication, intimacy, curiosity, all are things that destroy the relationship if you stop to work on that.
And as you say, rebuild the friendship. So you're making a conscious effort to rebuild why you like each other in the first place. You just said start with small things before you start talking about the big things,
Yes.
which could be favorite color or favorite movies or food or what you did that day or any of those things. Yeah.
Any of these things. Instead to talk about the kids, talk about you. Talk about you as a couple. What did you like about our marriage? What do you remember when we were dating? Talk about these things. And then you are able to go and talk about more important things. In fact, my job is structured in that way. Even if there is an affair, even if there is very heavy disagreement, my first things is not talk straight away to the disagreement or the affair because that is too heavy. They not have the capacity to talk about that. My job is helping them to start to be friends again. And if someone want to start right now, I give just tips like this. Start with a hug and a kiss.
Yeah. Start with a hug and a kiss.
Before to leave the house, before to go to work, give a hug and a nice kiss to your partner. When you come back, you give a hug and a kiss. Before anything else. Have you noticed why people love dogs? Why people love dogs?
As you said, you come home, the dog's wagging its tail, can't wait to see you. It's putting out love and affection from the moment it first sees you.
That's it. The dog, doesn't matter what he's doing, you come home, you drop everything, come to say hello to you. So this is what I help the couple do. I say them, doesn't matter what you do, you drop everything, you're going to receive your partner when he come back, give a big hug, 20-second hugs, 20-second hugs and a 6-second kiss. Because this is what help your body to make more love hormones
Oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. Yeah.
and make you the bond and the trust raise again.
Yes.
You do this every single day for 2 weeks, you will see how change your relationship.
Yeah. Amazing, huh? You're absolutely right. I mean, just by way of revelation, I mean, literally, I've just moved back in. My wife and I have been together for 40 years, but we had a breakup over not an affair, just basically arguing, not being able to solve problems. And in fact, I'd gone back into business with someone that my wife was dead against me doing. And again, I look back on it and I realize in a healthy relationship, your partner has a veto vote. A number of my friends have very successful marriages, and I look back and go, well, if their wives had have said, "I don't want you to do this," then they wouldn't have done it. Whereas in my case, I just barged on, and to my own detriment. And there's been a number of decisions like that. So So she's been very forgiving. There's been no other people involved in the relationship, as in affairs or anything. But we realise, as she said, she finds me funny, and we've just come back from Bali and the Philippines together and had a wonderful week, both working. I was working up there as well as, we went going to dinner and walking on the beach together and having pina coladas at the sunset and all those things you do when you first start dating. And she put me onto a book, by the way, by a guy called Jung Peblo, that it's about relationships, and it's been very helpful to the point where I've put a song together that says love is a living thing. It's a garden, you have to nurture it and water it, which is what you're saying there, versus the song starts with love's not a statue you carved in stone. It's not like you fall in love and then it's stuck like a piece of concrete. It's actually a living organic thing that you need to keep watering and nurturing, which to a certain extent is what you're talking about. What are your thoughts on what I've just said then?
Relationship is, you say right, is a garden. I describe us as a house, as a very, very busy house where you have a floor that you have, I don't know, the intimacy, and the other floor you have other things. Okay. The play or the fun or the problem. No, you have the problem on the top. So there is everything. Okay. So you need to maintain the house. If you buy a house, you have to do the maintaining every so often. Sometimes you spray because there is cockroach. Sometimes
Hmm.
you fix the wall because it start to get muddy. That is the house. John Gottman said that if you work 20 minutes a day on your marriage, 20 minutes a day on your marriage will be fantastic. 20 minutes a day. It's like go to the gym. We go to the gym 1 hour every single day. Why don't do it that for your relationship? Spend 20 minutes to sit and say, hey, do you feel loved right now? I've done something that upset you and maybe you hadn't seen that,
Mm.
or what make you feel loved? What would you like to do? What make you curious this week? What did you learn this week? And be curious and ask about what's going on in their life. And I agree with you when you say that you didn't take the suggestion for your wife. When you are in a relationship, it's not about I and you, it's about we. And success comes from be able to take the suggestion from your partner and understand um, that sometimes it's better say, okay, I do what you say, than be in trouble. It's a very important part, that one.
Well, another song last week, by the way, just as an example, having learnt, well, one thing in the thinking about coming back with my wife, I was meditating one morning, and I was meditating under what conditions would I consider us getting back together again. And the first point was, if from now on, if she says no about business or money things, then it becomes no. And I did a song called "When Catherine Says No," it means it's no now. But the other thing that came to mind was, I used to love us going for walks together. We used to walk with our dog, and then the dog had to be put down after 18 years. Um, and so I said, I really want us to go walking each night as much as possible. And that's what we've done. We've done 2 laps around the park. Most nights we're together here. And it's just so good because all of those things, what's going on for you, what's happening in your day. All of those things are happening as we walk around. And I find the walking and talking is such a powerful vehicle than, say, sitting down with a glass of wine or sitting in the lounge room. There's something seems to happen when you're out in nature, or going for a walk at the end of the day. And then our dinner is a completely different, it's a much more relaxed, kind of friendly, calmer dinner, calmer evening, a much more loving evening. Um, and of course, the other side of that is when I was not with her, I wasn't that interested in sitting watching TV because there you are just in a room on your own. So the whole idea of companionship and being together, but also, as you say, being curious about your partner and asking, I mean, I've never even thought of that question. Do you feel loved right now? What a powerful question. Do you feel loved right now? Well, what do you need to see or hear to feel loved? I'm sure there's a range of tools you've got there. You've said, by the way, if the floor is friendship and the walls are commitment and trust, what's the roof?
Well, the roof, there is no roof.
There's no roof.
No roof, because you can build everything inside this house. The roof is
Right.
what you think is right for you. But what is important that these two things, these three things must be stable. There's these more three things. If relationship is a choice, love fades. I'm telling you something that maybe will make you wonder. Okay. Um,
Mhm.
Researcher that study love, they talk about love not as a feeling, but as a drive.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Love is a survival mechanism that keep all species
Mm.
alive. So inside this drive, because they scan the brain, and the brain light up when we see someone that we love, light up in the same place where there is thirst and anger. So who study love use love as a drive and not as a feeling. Then there is inside the drive, there is three parts. That one is attachment, the other one is lust, and the romantic. So lust is what make you fall in love. You see someone, you're attracted, you want to be with them. The romantic part is the part that make you see this person as a possible future partner. Then you have the attachment that attach the couple. This is how they divide love.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, we have these three parts. Of course, you can have the lust without you have the attachment and without having the romantic part. Then you have just a one night stand. When you have
Yes.
all the three, you have a romantic relationship full on, a very good relationship. So we need to work on all these three parts.
Yep. All three. Lust,
All
romantic, attachment. Some of my water polo mates really have over the years only stayed with lust and romantic. The attachment thing keeps breaking apart. Let's just talk about that for a second, because one of the things I think years ago when Kath and I had done some counselling, I think it was in and around imago therapy, and they talked about only in an intimate relationship, when people are close, can you actually start to have intimate conversations, not the least of which, and I don't mean intimate as in I love you, you're beautiful, or I want to make love to you, but when you're in a close relationship, it might be something like, mate, I've done the dishes 5 nights this week and you haven't done them at all. Or, I've cooked for 6 nights and you haven't even offered to help with the dishes. Or why is it the toilet is dirty after, you go there? I mean, if it's just for a person, you may not say anything because you just let it go. But when you're in a close relationship, and I've got a funny feeling some of my friends who had many, many partners over the years, whenever it gets too intimate or too close, they don't want to be held accountable, or they don't want to have those conversations. They just want to maintain it at a lust or romantic kind of honeymoon phase. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we need to see what is the attachment in relationship. So we have four type of attachment. This is a theory that was um, was made up by John Bowlby in the 60s. And he found out that there is four ways of how how kids attach in romantic relationship. Okay, to make it very very short, there is four ways to be attached. One is secure. Secure is when you have your parents that were around, were present, where you as a kid you could have played, you could have made mistakes, so you could have cried, you could have be yourself without feel of abandonment or rejected or being broken, or so that is the secure. Then we have anxious, dismissive, and we have fearful, avoidant. All of those, it depends what is the relationship they have with their parents, what they did learn about the world, and what about relationship when they were kids. So my job is understand the history of the family and the history of the relationship between the person and the two parents, find out which one is between of those, and help them to become more secure.
Mhm.
How I do that? For example, an avoidant is this happened few years ago. I worked with a guy that when he was 8 years old, he witnessed his uncle under the porch that he shoot himself.
Oh.
Okay, he was 8. He was alone with him, and
Mm.
they were living in a countryside. So he had to call the police. Okay, at 8 years old, and stay next to the uncle until the ambulance arrived. So for him, life was something terrifying. Okay, and
Mhm.
showing up and showing the emotion for him was something very difficult. It's still something very difficult. Now he's doing better, but for him, say say I'm afraid was something impossible
Mm.
because when his parents arrive at home, the father was pretty abusive with him. Instead to hug him and tell him, "Hey, everything is fine," actually say it's your fault.
Wow.
And so you understand that he shut down the world outside. Now, what he was doing is anytime that he was with well, a romantic relationship, he wasn't able to express his feeling because express his feeling for him was danger, was something that could make you in a bad position. And what are you going to do with that? You need to reconnect with your child inside. You understand where this come from, and your friends probably are avoidant because they experience in their childhood the same trauma, not the same one, but very similar trauma in their experience. So instead to be stable and be stable in the relationship, as soon they can, they just out running. And that was what I was doing. Same.
Wow. Wow. So much of it goes back to, as you say, things that have happened in your childhood. So let's talk about, well, obviously you can't mention names, but before and afters, because you at SBN the other day, you mentioned couples that were going to get divorced and end up start making out on the couch in front of you. So give me some examples of what triggers a person, because as you've also said, if you go to someone and say, "Hey, if you've got a marriage problem, here's someone you should go and see," it's like, well, it's a sensitive topic. So what's the kind of journey people go through in terms of what triggers them to come and see you, be it the husband or the wife? And I'm again, it'd be an interesting pattern to go, is it usually the husband that says we should go get some coaching or therapy or counseling? Is it the wife? And then what's the journey that you go on to where they might come in arguing or having differences and end up making out on your couch and even, having a happy, healthy, successful marriage? What's the journey?
Good question. The journey usually couples, according to statistic, it takes 6 years from the first problem showing up in the relationship.
Mm.
Takes 6 years, 6 years to reach for help. 6 years, and usually 6 years there is a lot of water under the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say this: a new couple have a baby in the first 3 years of the newborn, have the 70% of the couple have a newborn, have a 80% of drop in happiness in the first 3 years.
80% what?
Drop of happiness.
Oh, drop in happiness. Yes, of course, because it gets pretty intense. It gets intense in those first
Very
3 years.
Yes, very intense. So you have this long time where couples try to connect, to talk, maybe in a wrong way, doing things, maybe find someone else, having affairs. You have all these things coming up. Usually the couple coming out are on the brink. They are there. They say this is the last resort. If this work, good. Otherwise, we're ready to live. The couple that you mentioned, talked about, that is a super real story, but this happened very often. I'm very happy with that. This couple came in because was a difference in wanting to be intimate. At this point, she was the one that wanted more. He didn't want more. He didn't like himself. So, but we talked about, again, I talked about their friendship, because remember this, when couple discuss about um, sex, talk about this toilet seat, talk about the rubbish, talk about the money, it's not about the money. It's never about what they're talking about. It's always about what the meaning of that means for them.
Wow.
It's everything about the meaning of what happened. This is why I say be curious and try to understand. Now, this couple, for example, I had a couple came in and they were talking about the toilet seat. This is a true story.
Yes.
She wanted to divorce him because the toilet seat, but the toilet seat for him, where something say, well, I put up 50%, you can put down 50%. Okay. Was because I asked her, what is the meaning of the toilet seat? And she said, well, when I was a girl, my parents were starting all the time. Every time they were arguing with, they were starting from the toilet seat. And from the toilet seat for them was a huge, huge argument anytime. And for me, it was scary. This is why I don't want to have a toilet seat up. I will offer my partner respect. He look at me, I look at her. I didn't know about that. Now you know.
So it wasn't toilet seat. The meaning was you don't respect me. You're not respecting me.
Yes, you don't respect me. You don't listen to me. I ask you something. Why you don't do that? Why you don't close the toothpaste? That annoy me. Is a I against you. Is my dependency against yours. Is always a fight for the power in relationship. Now, back to the couple, we start working to the friendship. We start, because this is the way I work. Usually couple come in the first session, we know each other. If there is something that is very important, I try to help them straight away. Okay. But usually I'm listening what they say, what are the problems, what is the situation. I try to understand how, if I can help them. And of course, if there is abuse, not abuse, these all things that I must check. Then what happens? Have a session with a one-on-one with both of them, because in a one-on-one, I can see if something that been said in a couple session can come out. For example, if in a couple there is abuse and both of them are here, I ask them, do there is any situation of abuse or repression? And they say no. But then I look at them and look at their body, the way they move and talk. And then I know, I say, okay, the second session does separate what's going on. And from there, I can help them. But anyway, usually I have a session with both of them so we can talk about the history of the family, why they learn what they learn, what is the attachment, what is the love language. And then we start from the next session, the therapy. That means we start to work on the friendship. We start to work in communication. The third session, usually communication, the I statement, a statement. Reducing the high conflict conversation is very important. High conflict conversation, like with criticism, contempt, defensiveness, stonewalling. Yeah? I teach them how to change the words that they use in the communication. Instead to say, I try, I say, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You always is not always. You sometimes, yeah, it's less aggressive and is not always an absolute. There is all these things we can work on that. Then depends what is the problem. Now with this couple, their problem where they grow at one point, the kids left the house and they look at each other, say, what we're gonna do? Because we don't know each other anymore. So I have
Who are we? Who are we when the kids aren't here?
Yeah.
Rather than the focus being on the kids now, there's a vacuum there.
Yes. One person, because we have love languages, no? And love languages, you must have you must talk the love language of your partner. If you don't speak the love language of your partner and you have kids, usually your partner take the love language from the kids.
Mhm.
Okay? And their love language is fulfilled. But soon the kids leave and you don't replace the thing, they're going to feel empty very quick. We called the love tank, you know, or the love bank account. You put a lot of love in your bank account for
Mm.
ugly days. So I help them to re re rebuild the friendship, dating, talking about the past, talking about themselves. I asked them to do the kiss and hug again. And with the check-in, make sure that both of them, they were doing it. They really wanted to do that. So very easy. It's more difficult when the couple don't want to do that.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah. But they did it already in 2 weeks. They were doing the hugs and the kiss were totally different. Now, he had the problem that he didn't like himself. Okay. And
How did you pick that up? How did you read that or discover that he didn't like himself?
well, he told me.
He literally said, "I don't like myself."
Mm.
That was in the one-on-one session or the group session?
Yes, in one-on-one.
In the one-on-one.
Because what you do, you build a rapport with them.
Yes.
So I try to make sure anytime someone come in and new that they are safe here and there is nothing go out in the world from here. So
Yes.
that's very important. I can talk about this because I know them and they told me if you won't say it, I'll say it. I don't say the names.
No, of course not.
I tell the story. Um, what happened? I help him to find someone that could help him with his weight, with his body. And I asked them what you can do right now as a small step toward the goal. What is one thing? Well, I say, well, maybe if we turn off the light. Okay. I ask her, are you okay with that? Are you okay with turn off the light? No seeing each other. He say, of course. And they started. But it's been something that went on slowly, slowly. This couple stayed with me 6 months. 6 months. They came in, they want to, they were desperate. Last day, I remember they were here in my couch. At one point, I look at them and say, guys, you making out here? Get a room. I called them the other day and they still very happy. They are going out, they having fun. They back dating like they were doing it.
Oh, that's lovely.
And they have sex in every place they can. Everywhere they go, they do it. She
Yeah.
said, we went in the bush the other day. We didn't in the bush. Oh, okay, I don't want to know. Good. It's possible. It's never late to save the marriage. It's never late. If you want to do it, you can do it.
No, you said that the other day, and that really resonated with me because, of course, here are we 40 years, it would look like it was all over. I was dead certain, even only last December, that I didn't want to get back together. But then, after a range of, I literally had the divorce papers sitting on my desk, and the photos were coming through on the screen of Kath and I together, Europe and New York, and the kids and the grandkids, and knowing we were about to have another. And I just started going, I miss her. I miss all those days. And, other people that I've, shown some interest in, none of them are as beautiful as her. None of them are as funny as her. None of them have the connection and family. What am I doing with these divorce papers? And so I went back and I said, Kath, I don't want to go ahead with this. And she says, well, I've never wanted to go ahead with it. So that was the beginning of us getting back together like little teenagers. And I realized, again, she's done a lot of reading around love and relationships, and I've done some, and the whole idea of it being a living thing. So things like sending texts during the day, I hope you're having a good day, or sending I love you, or little talk about, love being a living thing, just watering it with a positive statement. If I'm feeling it and thinking it, I'll send her a text or a note during the day, and vice versa. And it makes all the difference. But coming back to the toilet seat, just today, Mauro, there's those plugs that you can push down and they stick, and they're supposed to spring back up when you touch them again. And I'd done that the other day, and the plug didn't come up, and because I'd had a shave in the morning. Oh my God, That's terrible, and eventually I pushed it, and eventually it did come up. And I'd said to her, this is about a week or so ago, I said, that plug is stuck in the bathroom. It's not very good. She goes, yeah, don't push it down. Don't push it down because it's stuck. We had one another place and it didn't. So just don't do that. Do something else when you have a shave. Well, I get up at 4:45 in the morning and I'm still half asleep. And so this morning I push it down without even thinking. And then I go, oh no. And then I push and it won't come up. And I actually had to leave water in the bowl, and all of a sudden I finished my swim at the beach and the text had come through. I thought I told you not to push that plug down. Why did you do that? And I've gone, oh God, how am I going to? I was half asleep, So it literally became an issue. She says, why did you? What? And of course, the meaning was not the plug, but she literally said, this just reminds me of times you haven't listened to me in the past. It was much deeper than the plug. Now, the fact is, I went onto YouTube. I said, I'm going to go onto YouTube and I'm going to find out. Sure enough, there are ways, and I've fixed it. In the meantime, found all this gunk and it's cleaned it all up. So I've said, there's actually a silver lining to this, but it's not about the plug, and it wasn't about the cleaning or the silver lining. It was deeper, as you say. It was the meaning that you're not listening, and so that's so important, which brings me to that question that I did have of how do you have problem-solving conversations? How do you fight clean? How do you solve problems in a win-win, calm way rather than it escalating? As you say, it could be the toilet seat, could be the plug, it could be the way you park the car, any of those things. How what are some of the rules or the mechanisms you teach to help people have constructive problem-solving conversations versus escalating into a full-blown war and even divorce over something like a plug or a toilet seat?
Good question. Good question. Okay. I there's a thing that is very important. We need to understand what we do first that is wrong. And study and research say correctly, I mentioned just before, there's 4 major way to communicate that make the relationship fail. And 1, criticism; 2nd, defensiveness; 3rd, stonewalling; and 4th, contempt. Now, these 4 are called the 4 horsemen of apocalypse.
Can I just go through that again? 1 is criticism. 2 is what?
1, criticism; defensiveness.
Yes.
Defensiveness.
So you defend yourself. You defend you. Yeah, right. Okay.
3rd is stonewalling.
What does stonewalling look like or sound like? What does that mean?
I explain you so.
Okay.
And the 4th, the most dangerous one is contempt.
Contempt.
Contempt. Okay.
Right.
Now, to understand the 4, these 4 are being discovered by the Gottman Institute. The Gottman Institute, John and Julie, they studied couple for 40 years. Actually, John can watch a couple discuss for 5 minutes the way they interact without know anything else. They can watch this couple for 5 minutes, and they can tell you with accuracy of 90% if this couple will stay together or not.
Wow.
5 minutes. Now, they figure out this 4 points that I just described. Now, criticism is when you start a conversation, okay? Usually, for example, let's talk about the toilet seat. Yeah, I say, why the toilet seat is still here? I cannot ask you to do anything because you do whatever you want.
You've turned it into criticism. Yeah.
Criticism is an attack to the person. It's an attack and blame to the person. Now, the other side, the other side, the one that get the criticism, to start defend themselves. So defensiveness is about defend myself, attacking you back. So you say, why you don't put down the seatbelt, blah, blah, blah. You say, no, I always put down the seat. You never happy. You always have to fight about anything else.
Nag me.
That is defensiveness. It's a never-ending story. Now, here what happened. You have contempt. Contempt come in with time. A contempt is a higher level of criticism. If criticism is attacking the other person, contempt is belief that you are better than the other person.
Mm.
Contempt is about, for example, mimicking the voice, eye rolling, say things like, you so needy, you cannot do anything with me, you couldn't survive without me in this house. That is contempt. Contempt is also calling names, stupid, silly. Silly, that is a word that in English we use a lot. Are you so silly? Don't use it. Don't use it.
Mm.
Because silly, with time, becomes stupid.
Yes.
Don't use it. Negative words should be banned between the couple to use negative words.
Yeah.
Contempt is the most dangerous because it makes you actually believe that you are better, you can do much better, you can choose someone else. Then you have stonewalling. Stonewalling, according to the study, is more men do the stonewall than women. The study believed that is a behavior that has been passed by generation, and it's actually, when you shut down, you put your arm crossed. Okay, you shut
Oh.
down.
Mm.
Yeah, crossed.
Yes.
You
Mm.
shut down. You wait. Your partner shut up, and you hope your partner shut up. And then when the partner shut up, you just walk away. When you talk with someone, does someone look like listen to you but doesn't listen? That is stonewalling. And stonewall come from because your body during conversation is overwhelmed, the blood pressure go up, okay, and you shut down.
Yeah.
It's like when we were in hunter-gathering phase. A group of men were hunting, and these men have a tiger in front of them. They need to shut down their body with the hope the tiger wouldn't see them. So this is being passed. Now the tiger is not here anymore. We have a wife, but it's the same thing. What we do about that? Criticism, very simple. Gentle startup. We call gentle startup. You start gently the conversation. If your boss go in a toilet and leave the toilet seat up, you don't go and say, hey, you're an idiot. Why the seat is down? No, you don't say that. Or your friend, you don't say that. You say that,
Mm.
please, can you please put down the seat? Thank you. That is much better. So if I
Yeah.
come home, you left the seat up, I say, wait, can you please put down the seat? It's ugly.
Yeah.
Now, the other side, you have defenderness. What you do with defenderness is take responsibility.
Right.
Be responsible. Say,
Yes.
yeah, you're right. I left the seat up. I put it down. Do my best to remember every day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes. And in my case, I'll let you say, okay, yeah, you're right. I stuffed up. I was half asleep. From now on, I'll use a cup. I will not push that down. Versus, as you say, I'll try is still, as I say, do or do not. There is no try. I'll use a cup. I won't push that down. I'll put hot water in a cup, and that's how I'll shave from now on. Is that okay with you? Yeah.
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 And so when you solve that with taking responsibility and say sorry, say thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Two very important words. Yeah. Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry. It's very expensive for you, but can save a lot of trouble. Then you have contempt. How you work with contempt? With contempt, you need to work on appreciation. This is why friendship is so important. Because friendship make you understand why you stay with a person and why you
Yes.
appreciate that person. Yeah. You need to appreciate your partner. Write down every single day 3 things that your partner do good. Every single day. Tell them, I appreciate you because you did this and this and this. Thank you. Appreciation.
Oh,
Now, stonewalling is another thing. When people say you should never go in bed without resolve the fight.
yeah.
Well, no, not true.
Hmm.
So, absolutely wrong. Sometimes you need to have a break.
Yeah.
Because if your conflict is too strong that you cannot find a compromise, Okay. You don't want to reach the point that you're going to say something that is regrettable.
Yes.
So if you feel that you get too overwhelmed, say it. I need a break because I'm going to say something I don't want to say. Can we please resume the same conversation in half an hour?
Over.
You do anything else. You go for a walk, you go for in a shower, you eat something, you watch TV, I don't know, you do whatever you want, okay, with the promise that you come back and talk
Mm.
about it. You're going to see the second time that you start the same conversation will be totally different.
Yeah. You're in different, in NLP would call you in a different emotional state, a much calmer emotional state. There's a quote I saw the other day: the difference between anger and danger is just one word, D, one letter D, and it's just, you make a bad decision in anger. Rarely is a good decision made in anger. Rarely is a good, productive word spoken in anger. So they're great points. So as you say, can I take a break? I might say something I'm going to regret. Can I take a break? And I promise I'll come back and we'll resume this in half an hour. Mate, they are words I've never used. What a fantastic strategy. Great. I know you were continuing on with that point around that was in and around stonewalling and contempt, was it?
Yes, stonewalling. Stonewalling is take a break. Contempt is about appreciation.
Yes.
Understand, remember that your partner is why your partner is so great.
Three things you appreciate. Wow. What a great exercise. Just imagine if everybody, and starting with me or anyone, did that at the end of each day. Three things. Do you do that with your partner?
Always, always.
Wow, always. Wow, that's fantastic.
I do with all the people, if I can, with all the people around me. Because even if you use this for in your everyday communication, okay, and then I tell you, I would like to talk about the I statement. If you are aware about this, in every situation, let's say with your employee, no, your employee, maybe he didn't did properly our work. Instead to go say, why are you so useless, why you have done these things, instead to say, make up, Matt, what happened, you're usually very good on your job, um, what's going on, because there's some mistakes here. Yeah, the conversation is totally different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's not the first time that we hear people say, when you talk with a worker, you should tell them what they do right, then explain what you need from them to do better, and then you close again with something good. Because appreciate negativity stick. I can tell you that you're beautiful for 365 days a year, and then one day I tell you that you're ugly. With everything you remember is I told you you're ugly.
yes,
Okay.
yes. The recency factor. Yeah, the negative factor. Yeah,
Yes.
negativity sticks. Yeah,
If you use this concept, are you aware your worker is good for something? What is good about? Remember that. Okay. And when are you going to say, hey, I know that you're very good in this and this and this, I very appreciate. Find out something is being done in the week that's been very good. And then you say, and can we talk about something that maybe we can work together about this, because there is some mistakes. You will see that your worker will be more open to talk with you.
yeah. Brilliant, brilliant. It's a much softer, less threatening
Yeah.
approach, isn't it?
Yes. This is where I teach the I statement technique. Usually, have you ever noticed that when kids argue, they stand.
They
They,
stand up.
they stand up and they run away or the place that they scream. Do you remember earlier I told you about the kids and the trauma?
Yes,
Okay. When two adults argue, are not the two adults that argue, but the two children inside them that argue.
that's who's arguing. The child inside.
Yes, this is why you shout from one part to the other part of the house. This is why you stand. Have you ever tried to have an argument with your partner, lay down on the floor?
It's that would be very difficult. Yeah,
You cannot do that.
yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that you should lay down, but you sit. You sit.
To sit down and have a constructive problem-solving conversation.
You sit. The problem is the problem. The problem is not a relationship. The problem is the money. We need money because financially we are in a bad space. The money is the problem. It's not the relationship. You focus on the money problem.
Yeah, don't generalize or bleed it over into it's our relationship stuff. It's actually, that's the problem. Let's focus on the problem collaboratively.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you start with the I statement. I statement is a framework that people learn to use it in a right way. And say, when I see you, for example, about money, when I see you spend all this money, when I see you is something that you see, is your perception. I see you spend all this money. I feel that you're not aware about all financial stress. And I imagine that we will not be safe when we get old.
In the future. Yeah.
In the future. So you state what is your feeling. What you see, what is your feeling is your perception of life.
Yes.
Because your perception is your perception, the other person's perception is their perception. They're not wrong, they're not right, it's their perception.
Yes.
Now, the other side should respond, stating what they hear. And what they hear is because help them to understand if the person is communicating correctly what they want to communicate. For example, so the other person will say, so I'm hearing that when I spend all this money, you feel that I'm not aware about the money situation and you feel in this way. That's correct. The other person can say yes or not, depends if there's anything to add. And then from there, you can say, well, I'm sorry that you feel in this way. Can we have a look about the money situation and we can discuss? So in this way, you have one person communicate, the other one is really listening, especially men, we need to sit and listen. It's something that we don't do very well. Even women too, but more men, I think. That is my opinion. Repeat. And you really make sure that the person communicate what they want to say correctly, because sometimes people don't have the words to communicate their frustration. Some men or some women don't know how to say, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm jealous, I'm feel stressed, I'm scared. They cannot say that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that becomes a mechanism, as you say, the I statement. I think people should listen back to that again. It's such an important piece you've just said there, Mauro, in terms of when I see, this is how I feel, and then I imagine, and then the other person's restating. So I guess what you're saying is, which again, I remember when we did the Imago therapy, it really was about, I think it called couples dialogue, where the other person needs to restate back so that you know they've heard, not only have they heard, but also they've felt. So I guess you must be feeling. And so now we're talking at that feeling level. It's like they're getting me, they're hearing me, not only intellectually hearing me, the words, but hearing the feeling that I'm getting as a result of that. Now, this has been so valuable, but we've been going for almost an hour and a quarter. I'm just going to go through, what I like to do is go through I've taken a ton of notes here. As you say, your mission, making marriages work, how to make a marriage work. The John Gottman's clearly been a big influence on you, and that whole thing around communication, disinterest, staying curious, intimacy. And as you say, intimacy is not only about sex, friendship as the foundation for that love, rebuilding the friendship, starting with the small things before. I've got so many notes here. And as you say, the house is based on, for the floor is friendship, commitment and trust being the walls. And ask, do you feel loved right now? What do you need to see here to feel loved? Love as a drive, not just as a feeling. Man, oh man, it's not I or you, but we. The relationship really is an entity in itself. It's got its own life and personality, but needs the nurturing. You talked about lust, romantic attachment, secure. Are so much in here, Mauro. I'm just going to go to your website, because if people have found any of this, oh, by the way, here's your podcast, Progress Over Perfection, POP, Progress Over Perfection. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to follow that. Bang there. That's what I'll do there. And then and then here's your website. So, folks, there it is, maurodavidi.com, relationship counselling, Perth couples counselling and marriage therapy that works. Struggling in a relationship or just want your relationship to be better, it's never too late to save a marriage. Really fantastic stuff, mate. And maybe we'll do another one of these down the track. Talking of money, you go, what's your relationship worth? What is saving your marriage worth? And in fact, years ago, I said to one of my fellow friends who is also a relationship counselor, I said, the question to ask someone is, what's it going to cost you if you lose your marriage? And I was thinking in terms of financial costs, around cost of a house could be 200, 500,000, a million, 2 million. And so therefore, 5 or 6 or 10 seconds, really, let's say person spends $2,000 to save their marriage. It's nothing compared to the cost of the house, let alone the kids, let alone even more so the trauma of the break. Even though this is another song I wrote, by the way, people think the grass is greener. I wrote a song that said the grass is browner. I've been on the other side. The grass is not greener. The grass is browner on the other side. And as you can imagine, there's been all sorts of financial costs to the parting of ways. And I've also put another song together, Far Stronger Together. We're far stronger together than we are apart. So, Mauro, thank you so much for today. It's been absolutely brilliant, mate. Is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion or wrapping up, or anything we've missed out on that you'd like to say before we part company today?
The only thing I want to say is look at the monster in front of you and try to tackle the monster in front of you. Because if you don't, they will become bigger. Anytime is need just to change one individual in a couple, the way they express and the way they live, the way they do the relationship, one can change and both of them will change. I've seen this in many, many ways with big affairs, years and years of affairs, big trauma, big stuff. You can do it. You can do it. Relationship is about understand, learn, commitment, friendship, love, and passion.
Yeah. And life is too short to be unhappy. Life is too short to be in an unhappy relationship. And the fact is, if you dated and had a friend and fell in love and got married, as you say, go back, what was it like in those early days? Every day can be like that if you do the work and see it as a living thing. So when you said, see the first what in front, I didn't quite get the word you used. The first what in front?
Monster.
A monster. So we're dealing with the monsters. Exactly. And of course, that is the hero's journey, to have the courage to go into those caves, face those monsters. They're actually not as big as you think they are anyway. And having a coach, mentor, guide like yourself who has helped. Sadhguru, one of my mentors, Sadhguru says, when you're going to climb Mount Everest or climb a mountain, you can do it on your own, but you'd be far smarter to go with someone who's been there before, who knows the paths, who has the map, and use their expertise so that you get to the top of the mountain safely and back down. Clearly, you've got the map. You've talked about some of the components of those, the map and the guidebook today. And the fact is, any one of us can sign up and get married on a Saturday afternoon, but there's no guidebook that goes with it. What happens after that? It's not a fairy tale and they lived happily ever after. It's actually, and as you say, you have your first kid and see what happens then. Have your second kid and see what happens then. That's when you need guidance. Thank you so much for your time today, mate. We'll do this again at some point. And of course, folks, if you've got anything out of this, please do touch base with Mauro. You know where his website is. You can touch base with me as well. And Mauro, I look forward to you continuing doing great work that you're doing, and probably some of the most important work in society, which is building, saving, shaping, coaching in relation to happiness and happy marriages. Thank you so much, mate. All the best.
Thank you, Thank you.